Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be showing you guys 10 awesome paint jobs that you can use to apply to the 3 brand new vehicles that were just added in Grand Theft Auto Online, that being the Drift Tampa, the Ocelot Links, and the Western Cliffhanger motorcycle. So these paint jobs, in my opinion, are pretty cool, have a lot of unique variations, and that's what's great about them. All of these are just templates and suggestions for you guys. If you want to change up a color, you can do that. If you want to change up one of the customization options I do, you can totally do that. This is not a strict set of something you have to follow. Just ideas to get your mind going a little bit, and it might spark something, and it might spark a creation that you ultimately use on your vehicle. But these 10 are pretty cool, and they've all got a pretty nice theme to them. So with out of the way, let's not waste any more time, and let's get it started. Now, I'm getting some of the inspirations for these vehicles from you guys on Twitter, as well as some other websites like the GTA forums. I asked around earlier today saying, hey, tweet me some of your cool paint jobs, and some of yours actually made it into this video, which is super neat. But like I said, let's not waste any more time, and let's get the video started. All right, so we're going to be starting with the Drift Tampa, and for our first paint job, what I wanted to go after was Ken Block's Hoonigan Mustang. I'll show you guys what it looks like on the screen right now, and I think this is what Rockstar modeled the car after. Very, very similar in terms of style and in terms of one of the livery options as well. So because I wanted to model it off of Ken Block's car, the first thing we need to do is apply a paint job. So for this, what I'm going to be applying is a matte black for both the primary and the secondary. You could use metallic, you could use classic. I kind of like the matte black look, so that's exactly what I'm going to be going for. After that, we need to change the color of the wheels to either something like a desert tan or like a dark bronze. So you can choose to change between stock wheels or something different. However, I love the stock wheel on the Tampa, and that's another reason why I'm doing this in single player, is because in order to change the stock wheel in online, you have to go through a very tedious process of using the iFruit app. I'll leave a link to that video in the description if you want to know how you can do that. But for now, we're just going to be doing this in single player because it's a little bit easier. So make your wheel either a dark copper or brown or something like that. And then what we want to do is apply the Raga Rum livery, which is really cool. And it's going to put this like kind of green and yellow kind of splash on there with a bunch of other liveries and insignias that make it look really good. Other than that, all I really did was black out the windows, and that was it. That's version number 1 of the Hoonigan Mustang by Ken Block. I think this is a really popular one and one you're going to be seeing a lot of. But in case you heard your friends talking about it or heard other people talking about it, this is how you create that style of paint job. Now, an alternative version I really like of this is switching out the kind of deserty tan wheels with a lime green. I think the lime green wheels rock really well with the yellow and bright green that is on the livery itself. And this is also the exact same image that Rockstar teased on, I guess, the in-game website. So on the Southern San Andreas Super Autos, this is exactly what the car looks like. So I thought it would be fun to create this version right here. And as you can see, the lime green wheels really do bring out the livery of the car. So that's kind of version number 2 of the Hoonicorn. All right, version number 3, if you wanted to go for a simpler design, this is something you could do. You could completely remove all the liveries, switch back to those like kind of copperish tan wheels, and you can get a very simple design right here that still looks really great. So you could go for metallic black, you could go for matte black. And what's cool about this is if you've got like a crew emblem that's like a Batman logo or something like that, it's going to look great on this car. So this is the kind of naked or livery-less version of the Tampa, and it still looks great with those epic wheels. All right, and finally, last but not least, version number 4 of our first design is using the Raga Rum livery again with the black paint job. However, this time we're going to go for a little bit of a stealthier look. So instead of using the bright green wheels or the tan wheels, we're going to be using black wheels, which look really great when they're the stock version, and the black really pulls from the black of the car. So really great look right here. This is part 1 of the Class A Tampa using the Raga Rum and no livery options. Pretty cool. Let's move on to another one. This one actually features the Haynes Auto Body Shop livery. So I think this one gets overlooked a little bit more than it should, just because I think the Raga Rum one is going to be the most popular. But for this, what we're going to be doing is creating a really cool, unique look using the Hayes auto body. So for this design, we're going to be using bluish silver for both the primary and the secondary. I think the silver matches the inside of the numbers, the 41. So that's what I was trying to pull from that. And if we do the top and the secondary primary colors, both the same, it's going to give us a really good look. And then from there, all I wanted to do was change up the wheels a little bit because I thought the blue bluish silver matched those alloys a little bit too much, so I ended up going with a baby blue wheel color to match the Hayes cursive logo that was written on the side of the car. So that's first design right there, featuring the Hayes Auto Body Shop logo. This one's really cool. You get kind of like a gray, blue, gray pattern all the way down to the wheels. So I really love this paint job right here. This next design right here is pretty wild, but it features a salmon pink color. So we're going to be using the exact same Hayes Auto Body Shop livery on here. And for our primary and secondary color, we're going to be applying salmon pink. Now, I know what you're saying. This looks kind of outrageous, but it works really well, actually. And I went all the way and I made the wheels, the stock wheels, that salmon pink too. And there's something about a light pink in a blue color that works really well together. Also, kind of like the inside hue of the number 41 also has like this pinkish tone to it. So I feel like it worked really well. And if you wanted to go for kind of like a crazier NASCAR look with the pink and blue, this is certainly the paint job that might work for you. All right, and our last design for the Drift Tampa today is going to feature a pretty cool combination of yellow and blue. So for your primary colors, you want to apply just either a metallic or classic yellow. And then for the secondary color, what you want to do is apply any shade of blue. I felt that a little bit of a lighter blue looked good because it kind of took some hues from the bright yellow paint. But any blue you want to go with, you totally can, as long as it kind of matches the Hayes auto body stripe that goes down the kind of lower third of the car. And then because we had so much color going on this car already with like the reds and the blues and the yellows, I wanted to make the wheels as mild as I could, so I just ended up using the alloys right there. So that's our final design for the Drift Tampa. This one is pretty extreme and pretty crazy, but I really do like it. It reminds me of a nice NASCAR look, and that was kind of the feel I was going for here. So that's ultimately a really cool design, and all the ones we're going to be going over for the Drift Tampa. I almost completely forgot. I wanted to show you guys a clean version of the Tampa, how you could do one without the livery as well. So what I've got here is I just chose a basic red color. I went with Grace Red for both the primary and the secondary, and what I felt is that matched the kind of accents of the car nicely. So the red netting on the outside, the X's over the headlights, as well as the red kind of straps and whatnot on the seat. So I went with a red-red combination. I also went with just some basic wheels. I know you guys are probably looking for a design that doesn't feature the stock wheels. Well, this is one of them. It's a pretty cool overall look, very simple. I know some people can get carried away and some of these designs might be too intense for some of you, but this one hopefully isn't. It's simply just a primary, secondary Grace Red with some basic muscle car wheels, but I think the results turned out awesome. Let's move on to the Ocelot Links, and the first one we're going to be going over today is kind of a British race car version. So you can choose to put any of the customization options on that I'm doing right now. Basically, all you need to do here is apply a white paint job for both the primary and the secondary, and then choose the Ocelot Racing livery. From here, you can do whatever you want. I applied some pretty crazy options like custom front and rear bumpers, skirts, different exhausts. I also added a roll cage as well, which looks really good if you make the secondary color red, because it changes the mirrors on the outside to red, which kind of matches some of the red stripes on the outside of the car. And also you get that nice bit of color on the inside. And last but not least, for this car, I simply just chose some white wheels to kind of match the paint job on the outside too. So that's the British race car design that I ultimately came up with. I think it goes really well with the design that Rockstar provided in the livery. Lots of red, whites, and blues, the British flag on top, the Ocelot logo on the side. So this one was a pretty cool design. I had a lot of fun building this one in game. Moving on to design number 2, we're going to be keeping the same livery, the Ocelot Racing one. However, this time we're going to be switching to a darker blue primary. I ended up using midnight blue, and then I applied an ultra blue pearlescent, which ended up looking really, really good here. So once I did that, it was pretty much it. I applied a secondary color of white. I toned down some of the customization options a little bit, made it a little bit more simple, and ultimately this was my final product right here. Just a super dark blue that ended up highlighting the other light blue colors on the car. So you can see the Ocelot logo kind of glows, as well as the lighter blues really pop on this car, and the reds almost turn into a pinkish purple, which is kind of nice, and it gives it an ultimately epic look. Moving on, our next design for the Ocelot Links is the Newswire. So Rockstar featured this image of the Ocelot Links on their Newswire post today. It can also be seen in-game on some of the loading screens. So that's my inspiration for this post right here, and that's what we're going to be building this car off of. So right off the bat, you can tell that its primary color is going to be a yellow of sorts, and that's exactly what we ended up using. You also want to make sure that you have the racing livery on there as well, the Ocelot Racing one. So once you've got the primary of yellow, what you want to do is apply the secondary color of red, and then simply apply the sports grille and then the mid-level spoiler, and that'll get you the exact look that I'm using in game. Once again, if you want to switch it up to anything you feel like, I'm just going based off of what Rockstar did on their Newswire, kind of recreating this car and recreating this design. And for the wheels, I ended up selecting the Ice Kid. Those are the ones that I think matched on the Newswire, but I couldn't tell for sure, and that was the design right there. So once again, I'm calling this one the Newswire because that's the one Rockstar featured on their Newswire and on the loading screens in-game, but overall, it turned out to be a pretty cool look and a pretty cool design. However, let's say you don't want a livery on the car. Can you still create some pretty cool designs? Absolutely. And even if you don't want the customization as well, I'm going to show you what it looks like and some crazy combinations you can create. So I removed all the customization from this vehicle, and then I ended up going with just a regular blue color and an ice white pearlescent. So blue and ice white actually looks really good, gives the blue a nice little shine in the sun. And you can see this vehicle looks really good with all the stock options. So if you wanted to do no spoiler, no upgraded skirts, no nothing, you can still make this car look amazing. And it is a beautiful car. Obviously, this isn't about performance, but looks alone. And overall, I am really, really impressed with the way this car looks stock. So this is a simple design if you want to. I know we were covering a lot of the liveries today, but that's the Ocelot Links and all the paint jobs we're going over for it. Let's move on, and last but certainly not least, we've got the Western Cliffhanger. So I've got 3 paint jobs for the Cliffhanger, well really 2, but 3 different in total. So the first 2 are going to be non-livery versions, and they're just going to be using a certain primary with a white secondary. So for the first one, I ended up choosing a kind of dark red with a bright red pearlescent, and of course the white secondary, and that ultimately ended up looking really good with no pearlescent. So that's what option number 1 turned out to be. In my opinion, the livery makes it look like a more classic chopper, and it doesn't necessarily have to focus all on the livery, and I think it looks really good. And our design number 2 actually featured a darker green. So I ended up doing a bright green with a dark green secondary, or pearlescent, I should say, with that white secondary once again, and that design ended up looking really, really good too. And finally, last but not least, I wanted to include one livery for the Western Cliffhanger. So I ended up going with a midnight blue primary with a bright blue pearlescent, kept the white secondary, and this time I applied one of the liveries on to the vehicle. I applied the LTD gas one, which is really cool. It gives us like a red and white stripe. It also does some pretty cool stuff to the front of the bike as well. And that is our final design. I think it looks really cool. So if you want to go for a livery themed bike, the LTD one, in my opinion, is the best and is my personal favorite. But anyways, those are all the paint jobs that I'm going to be going over for you guys in this video today. I think it was 10. It might have been a little bit more, but I wasn't including some of the mild variations we were making to stuff like the Drift Tampa and whatnot. So hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy this video. If you learned one new paint job that you think is cool, then I'm definitely considering this video a success. So if you did go on to enjoy, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. Without the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.